Everyone introduce their name?
Oh, absolutely.
Start right here. Just everyone just tell me your name and go around. Steve?
Donnie.
Pleasure. Dylan, pleasure. Thanks so much. Well, it's a pleasure to be with all of you here today. This is part of Qualcomm's, I guess, Science and Technology Festival. Has anyone heard of that going on this week? Okay, pretty good. And it's part of, I guess, STEM outreach. So first of all, can anyone tell me what STEM stands for?
Or STEAM.
Or STEAM, as it's also known. So STEAM, STEM, Kate, I'm sure you can fill in the blank on that.
For STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So it's an acronym so that we can encompass all of these, subject matters into our learning. They're not all separated. They're all integrated, and when you've got high skills in one, it lends it to the other as well. Anything else with STEAM or STEM?
Very good. Yeah, it used to be STEM, which was science, technology, engineering, and math, and they added in art because there is a lot of crossover, and there's artists are part of the whole arts and sciences community. So we welcome them as well. And this middle school has a science and technology focus. Is that right?
Yep. We're going to, let's see. We have one other middle school within our district that's more of a performing arts and language.
Okay.
And then so our draw and pull is going to be the STEAM, focusing on mostly technology, arts, the sciences, and a little bit dabbling in the languages with Chinese and Spanish.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, you guys are definitely my target audience. I grew up really interested in science and technology, and I'll talk a little bit about my journey, what led me into a career, in my case, in kind of science and engineering, intersection of those two, and kind of the decisions I made along the way, and hopefully give you guys some insight into what that looks like, and then if you have any questions in that realm, I'm happy to answer as we go. So I grew up literally all over the map, Oregon, northern Southern California, a year in Wisconsin, a couple years in New York, all kinds of different areas. My younger brother, right there, and I both got into computers from a really young age. So basically, that was kind of our gateway into science and engineering, if you will. We had one family computer, so my dad would give us each, a couple hours a night, and then the time grew and grew. But of course, fights would break out when if one of us went too long, the other one would basically come up, hit the power button, and you can imagine what would happen. People weren't happy. It's kind of like you have to close your laptop to not break out. So my brother got into 3D graphics, went into gaming, now works at Google. I got interested in artificial intelligence and adaptive learning systems, and so that's kind of been a key thing that really interested me, that got me passionate and interested to kind of do all the nitty-gritty of learning about science and engineering along the way. So in college, I did research in a couple different labs. I ended up double majoring in applied math and computer science. But we did research, in this case, on a nematode called C. elegans. And chemotaxis is behavior where it swims around basically trying to find food. So it looks up chemical gradient, tries to find food so it can feed on, basically. And we made a robotic model, as you can see here, and we reproduced that behavior. But what we did is we looked at attraction to light as kind of a simplified version of that. So you could turn on the light, and it would sort of be swimming around, and it would go over and try to track down the light as a reproduction. But we did it with an actual brain model of that C. elegans called a neural network. So it had these artificial neurons that basically use signaling techniques, and it learns just the way we learn. So it wasn't like pre-programmed to do that behavior. So my last year in school, I also worked at an optimization company called Canavec, where we did control and 3D laser scans. Worked about 35 hours a week. But basically, came to this crossroads, which most of you, if not all of you, will come to, where you're graduating college and you hit this kind of fork in the road here, and you have to decide what to do next. And so in my case, the decision was, do I go into grad school and pursue the more academic route, or do I jump into the private sector? So who can guess which route I took? Did I go this way or this way? Yes? Actually, no. Surprisingly, I jumped into the private sector, and let me explain why. I was doing some research, and I had a lot of friends who did go into graduate school, and I have huge respect for that more pure research path. In my case, I was always more interested in applications and sort of applied research and development. So I decided to go to a corporation where I could work in research and development, but on a more applied kind of basis. So that was my decision there, which took me to the next fork in the road. I was living up in Oregon at the time, and I had to decide, do I stay in Oregon or do I relocate? In this case, down to Southern California. Again, can anyone hazard a guess which of the two choices I made? Yes? Very good. So,
what would be some reasons, given the images that Alex has put up, why would someone choose California? I only see 3 hands, that's it. Come on, people. We're trying to get lots of...
Okay, we'll start with you. Very good. That was one key reason. Yeah, yes.
In and out. In and out?
In and out is a great one. That was my first experience moving down here. Yeah, good one. Yeah. Very hot. Hot, sunny. Yeah, that was key. Yes?
In the pictures of Oregon, it's raining a lot. But then in the lower pictures of San Diego, it's really sunny and the beaches.
Yeah, the beach is also another attraction. Yep. Oh, it looks like that was you. Do you have anything else?
Oregon is a snow days.
Oregon does have snow days, and those were pretty awesome. So that's a definite plus. Here you have to drive up to like Julian or Mammoth, Big Bear. So, but yeah.
We may. It's kind of like kids. Like we can have like more boats.
You can have more what?
Like more boat travel.
Boats, you said?
Yes.
Boats are good. Yeah, definitely. Anything in the water was a key draw. I was a big fan of the water. Yeah.
My grandpa lived there. I used to live with him for a while. Then me and my mom and my sister and Hosh went to university.
Oh, okay. Cool. So another Oregonian here. Very cool. Yeah.
Kind of a little bit off topic, but are you like a surfer? Have you surfed?
I've surfed a couple times. I'm not very good, but definitely enjoyed it a few times I tried. I tried night surfing one time off Tourmaline Park. That was an interesting experience. But yeah, a little bit here and there.
I got a new best friend.
You do it yourself?
Yeah, I surf and I surf.
Oh, right. Very cool. All right. Good to meet you. Is there another question there? No? Okay. We'll proceed ahead here. So I did come down to California. My brother and I convinced him to drive down with me because I wanted to bring all my stuff. And so he drove down and I paid for his flight to go back up. But it was like, I think 21 hours straight to get down here. So we didn't stop. We just kept going, kind of took turns. And it was quite the road trip. Those are things I used to do, which I don't do too much anymore. Yeah.
What if you have to use the bathroom?
We would stop for that. Those were the stops. Bathroom, eating, gas, and just go. So yeah. We used to do all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So when I moved down to San Diego, I worked at a big software company called Teradata, huge, like 10,000 employees. So I got kind of the big company experience. Then I went out and did consulting for a couple of years. And the interesting thing about consulting, if you guys ever go into that, you work directly with customers, and so you kind of get a good close-up picture. What are their pain points? What are their needs? You also get to see what are the other solutions in the market. So by consulting, in our case, with a lot of energy companies, we got to see what their challenges were. And what a colleague and I ended up doing is co-founding a company called Intelligence, which I'll tell you a little bit about in terms of the technology. And before I move on, quick survey, since this is going to be a really STEM or STEAM-focused talk. First of all, how many of you are planning on going into science and engineering, math, or technology? Okay, hands there. Very good.
Maybe they don't know it yet.
And how many of you maybe don't know that you are yet? All right, very cool. Well, hopefully I'll give you some insight. I wasn't sure if I was going to, growing up. I knew my brother and I loved computers, but I wasn't sure, do I want to go through all this science and math, to get to the fun part, which my brother was into gaming and graphics, mostly video games, but he got into graphics as a way to produce them. And I got interested in learning systems, but I wasn't sure if I could apply that in a job. So, early on you have a lot of questions, but I encourage you to pursue that because there's a lot of interesting careers, and going with STEM or STEAM as a basis opens up a whole bunch of opportunities for you. So, Intel, how many of you remember what happened in 2008 in the Gulf of Mexico? Yes? So what, can you describe it for me? The oil spill. Yes, exactly. So BP had a rig called the Deepwater Horizon, and what actually happened is they're harvesting all this oil, but sometimes there's these huge surges of natural gas, and they have a blowout preventer, and it's supposed to clamp down when there's this surge. And what happened in that case is it failed to clamp down, so this massive surge of natural gas went up to the surface, blew up. I think it killed about 10 people. It caused a huge environmental catastrophe, which we probably still don't even know the scope of it today. But one of the companies involved in that, it was kind of a wake-up call for the whole industry. They looked around, they said, what technologies can help us prevent this from happening again? And we were very honored that one of the companies that owned that rig, after a 2-year evaluation, ended up picking our technology as a way, and I'll talk a little bit about how we do that, but basically we monitor the health of the equipment, and we detect when problems are developing that could either cause them to fail, or in this case, cause them major catastrophe. So what our software does in a nutshell is it kind of keeps a finger on the pulse. Like you go to the doctor, they check the health of your heart by doing an EKG. We kind of do that on equipment where we take feeds of sensor data for things like temperature, pressure, flows, all kinds of operating parameters, just like you go in and they take your blood pressure, your heart rate, kind of same deal for heavy industrial equipment. And we're now going to do a brief test, kind of a demonstration test, a little bit of both, and we're going to show how you all actually do what our software does quite well in your example. So I'm going to basically, the first example is going to be what we call recall. So I'm going to play some music, and as soon as you recognize the song, just raise your hand or let me know what the song is. Cue it up here.
Now, don't say anything, but just put your hand up if you recognize it. But don't put your hand up just because your friend puts your hand up and she recognizes it or he recognizes it. Try and do this on your own. See if you can recognize it on your own. Sometimes closing your eyes helps. Okay, I'll stop.
Okay, very good. So, and it's a little bit of an older song, so it could be a challenge, but just let me know if you recognize it. You might have heard it on a movie or you might have heard it playing, so let me know if you recognize it. All right.
My brother listens to it.
Very good. Okay, now who can tell me what this song is called? Yes. Very good, Sweet Home Alabama. So I'm impressed you guys know that because it's kind of from an older era. But
My grandma listens to it.
oh, is that right? Your grandma listens to it. So there you go. Definitely an older song. So what you guys did there was actually really impressive from a computer science standpoint. You probably could recognize probably millions of songs where you could just hear a little snippet and go, Sweet Home Alabama. I know I've heard that before. Sounds simple, but mathematically it is actually very difficult. So what I'm going to do is show you an example of what you're doing when that happens. And what we'll do here is bring this over to the main screen. And what this is here is it's a spectrogram. So as you're talking or as music's playing, this is what your brain is doing. It's actually your inner ear. There's a thing called the cochlea, which as sound waves come into it, it extracts the frequencies. And so if you think about it, high-frequency sounds are like high-pitched instruments like a violin. Low-frequency sounds would be like a bass or a cello. And what you see here is the upper bands would be high-frequency, the lower bands would be low-frequency. And it's the first step towards processing music. Most of us don't think about that. We just enjoy the music, right? Maybe you don't want to think about the engineering while you're enjoying it. But this is what your brain is doing to detect songs. Some songs you like, some songs you don't like, but this is some of the math behind that. So I'm going to go on to the next phase of our demonstration, again using your techniques here. And the second one is going to be anomaly detection. So can anyone tell me what an anomaly is? It's kind of a tough one. Yes?
Oh, who would have thought?
Fire alarm?
Fire alarm.
All
Let's
right,
do it.
fun.
So welcome to school.
It's a full experience.
You get the whole experience. I gotta one thing that I'm not prepared for is that there's a list of kids who are absent. All right. Here we go. I'm gonna try and make it as official as possible.
Okay.
This is only a test, hopefully. It's only a test.
Article, but I'm on JD. I'm on the JD. What high school are you going to?
What's that?
What high school?
Lincoln High School up in Oregon. Again, that's rainy or gray or fine. A lot of indoor sports.
I'm on the JD.
For what?
JD broadcast.
Oh, really?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, that was quick. That was probably our best fire drill yet. It's quick, it's safe, it's quiet. Thank you. Huh? There's going to be an announcement, do you think? Well, if there's an announcement, we'll stop and pause for it. But other than that, we're going to get right to it. Back to our anomaly. Who's going to tell us the definition of an anomaly?
Yeah, we had a hand.
Who was that? You got an anomaly?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I was about to say this again. I was just thinking that anomaly is like a flaw in the system that happens.
It can definitely be a flaw that can happen fast. Yep, that's often a good characteristic. Anyone want to add to that? That's definitely part of the equation. Yeah.
I think anomaly detection. How do you say it last word?
Detection.
Anomaly detection is like the detection of like technology, maybe.
Of the anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about detecting anomalies when they occur. So basically an anomaly.
Like virus.
It could be a virus, yeah. It could be a virus, definitely. Virus being like a foreign object. So was that fire drill an anomaly that we just had? Yes. Very good. That would be an anomaly. Because it's just something unexpected, right? Like you're going along through your day and something surprises you. Often what we'll focus on are things that are unexpected, right? You're driving and a cow jumps in the middle of the road and you stop and you look at that cow because it doesn't normally happen. It's just something unusual. It could be something you hear. You're sitting in class and you hear like a bark coming from the corner of the room and you go, I'm not used to hearing a dog barking in the corner, like someone bring a dog. So those are unusual things that you wouldn't expect to hear. So we're going to actually play more of this song. And the next test is that as soon as you hear an anomaly in the music, I want you to let me know. Raise your hand. Go back to our spectrogram as well. Very good. Okay. So we did have an anomaly trigger. A little hard to see represented there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop that. So basically, what was the anomaly? What was surprising? Yeah.
It was like hearing the voices squeaky like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
That's right, Alvin and Chipmunks. Yeah.
And it went sort of like fast, like seconds.
That's right. It went very fast. The setups of the frequencies actually increased. Yeah.
I think that the song just got got a little technical difficulties with like if it was on a playlist like maybe on your phone had little technical difficulties or a glitch that makes skipping my song.
Yeah, a lot of times a glitch will sound like that. You'll hear a jump and it will sound just different. So yeah.
Easy. It's a little bit funny.
A little bit funny sounding, yeah. Kind of. Sometimes anomalies can be funny because it's just surprising. Follow up on that. Keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
All right. So we'll keep going. So first of all, congratulations. To answer that question, actually, you all have had to solve number 1, multivariate calculus. So has anyone heard of the Fourier transform? It's basically a multivariate calculus double integral. So if anyone ever asks you, have you done multivariate calculus, you can now say yes by virtue of having solved that test. That's kind of cool. Do any of you like math? Anyone like math here? All right. Good. Excellent. Quite a few math. Well, you just did some advanced math. Later on, you'll probably learn how your brain solved that, but you already did solve it, so that's kind of cool. All right, so we'll
feel smarter now knowing that I use math to do that.
You're all math people today. So that's pretty awesome. So we'll proceed ahead here. So machine learning. Has anyone heard of machine learning? Okay, we got one. What have you heard it described as? What would you describe it? Machines learning, I think. Yeah, basically, just like the name implies, it's empowering computers to learn, right? So you all learn here at school, right, from about a variety of subjects, science, engineering, technology, art, math, among others. What if computers could learn, right? So that's what machine learning is all about. What if instead of us programming a computer to do something, we program a computer how to learn the way we all learn, and then feed it a whole bunch of data, let it go learn how it's going to solve the problem, and we go out and go to the beach, right? That's the goal. It doesn't always work out that way. But the goal is you create a learning system, and you feed it a whole bunch of data, inputs and the outputs, and it learns how to find the outputs from the inputs automatically. So this has been applied in credit card fraud detection. There's a company in San Diego actually called HNC Software, which did neural networks, and they learned patterns of credit card fraud and also anomalies. So maybe you make a trip to Vegas, and you get a phone call, and they say, you know, so-and-so, was that you? Someone went to Vegas and ran up a whole bunch of expenses. Maybe you've never been to Vegas before, so it's kind of suspicious. That's kind of an anomaly. So major application there. Agency actually got acquired for $1 billion by a company called FICO. If you've heard of your FICO score, that's part of the same company. Yeah.
Like, hackers hacking like systems and they could be all money and stuff. Credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They try to catch that too, yeah, because a lot of times they've even seen it where they do microtransactions, like just do a bunch of 99-cent charges, and then if those work, they start spiking it up even higher dollar amounts. So yeah.
Like scams?
Scams, they try to catch that. Anything that is unusual purchase behavior for yourself, yeah.
One time somebody tried to steal my mom and send me my money, but then she knew that they were trying to steal it. They said, oh, here's the look, give a look. So she told my dad, they called the cops, we had got me go back.
So your mom's anomaly detector trip, she said there's something suspicious about this before. So that's, you know, a lot of times we're the ones that people are doing that at school. Yeah, a lot of times the police won't tell you, you know, as they pursue it. And ironically, this company HNC, the way they used to approach credit card fraud is they had these former FBI detectives, and they'd sit there and pour through reams of paper, and they'd go and try to arrest the fraudsters, right? They'd try to catch them in the act, arrest them. Then they looked at this and they said, it's actually too expensive to do that. They said, it's cheaper to nip it in the bud, shut down the transaction, and send people a new credit card. So that's what they do now. They sort of don't really go after them so much, which is kind of frustrating because a lot of times the people perpetrating it know that they're barely going to chase after them unless they really go for big dollar amounts. So, but they do eventually try to catch them. So another area is voice recognition. Have any of you ever used voice recognition? So you have a couple? Yeah. More? How many of you have used a smartphone? Use that? Very good. Well, if you ever use the, you know, when you're sending a text message, maybe you're driving, actually you shouldn't be doing that. Maybe you're doing something where you can't operate your hands, and so you click the button, you know, and you talk, and it figures out what words you're saying. That used to be pre-programmed, but in the last 5 years, they've switched it all to machine learning. So now they take a huge database. They record your voice, all your voices, and they feed it into this machine, and it learns over time what the words are. So I take a recording of your speech, and I label it, this is car, this is boat, and over time it learns what the patterns in the sound data are to represent that. And finally, has anyone heard of Google's autonomous car? Quite a few. So that's a really neat project that autonomous cars, and again, they used to pre-program it, so I try to write code to say, if I see a traffic light, turn left. If a car is merging into my lane, you know, veer left. That's a lot of rules to program, right? So with machine learning, you just get a whole bunch of data about people driving. you label what's good and what's bad, and it automatically learns what to do in each situation. So I'm going to show a quick video now. Apologize for bringing popcorn, but we have at least a little video, hopefully entertainment. So I'll bring this up over here. And this will give you a little bit of insight into how we apply machine learning to help try to prevent these things like the VP explosion.
At Intel, we make machines smart, so they can tell you they need attention before a failure causes disruption, losses, safety issues, and environmental incidents. Smart machines transform an organization from reactive into proactive, anticipating issues and rapidly acting to boost productivity.
Can everyone hear okay?
And take
Yeah?
downtime
A little bit?
and production losses. We do machine learning.
So this describes the machine learning process here.
Archive, sensor, and maintenance data. It uncovers tiny patterns.
So normal patterns as well as abnormal patterns.
States.
You can see how it learns that.
Precise patterns that precede failures. By superimposing known failures, we can identify precise patterns that predict a
And if you think about music, these streams of data, of sensor data, is just like music. It's just a stream of information.
Patterns that show if the pump is operating normally or abnormally. We superimpose a vertical red line over the sensor data.
Remember the spectrogram? This is kind of like a spectrogram of sensor data for heavy machinery.
The software performs a deep analysis.
And the red line was a failure, so we learn a signature that led up to that failure, right? Like what series of patterns preceded
In
that?
addition to learning from past failures, the software can detect future anomalies, enabling it to detect types of failure modes that have never been seen before. Intel Smart Agents keep learning and updating themselves, constantly identifying new failure and operating condition patterns derived from billions of sensor data values. The Smart Agents not only identify the failure, they automatically send alert notifications.
Okay, so that's a quick picture of that. I'm going to show you one more video,
As well as
and then we will move on actually to the
directly to the
presentation.
maintenance system.
Okay, so one more video to give you a flavor.
Intel Smart Machines are constantly updating and expanding.
This
their
shows how
knowledge
machines
base
can
by
communicate
sharing
together
learned
with our software.
behaviors. Smart agents automatically share new behaviors between machines within a plant or facility once they have been learned. After a short retraining period, every machine is equipped with the same safety and breakdown protection. Sharing is also not limited to a single location. Smart agents share behaviors between facilities as well as machines. This process, called
Those are the oil rigs,
transfer
yeah.
learning, improves throughput and provides
So we're monitoring a lot of drilling rigs,
safety
you know,
and risk
all over the world for
management
that.
to multiple locations. Our smart agents form a network that universally communicates all known conditions for improved equipment protection.
Okay, so that's a quick flavor of that. Any questions on the video? Yes? No? Okay, good.
How do they manage to get the data over long ranges?
Great question. They have satellites actually, and so these rigs transmit data up to satellites.
That
We
bounces back to other ones?
And it bounces back to land-based collection sites, and then it goes into the main internet and trunk lines. We actually do install software on the drilling rig, though, so it runs locally, but it also sends data up to the more global collection. So, is there another question? So, transfer learning is a newer technology we've developed in the last couple of years, and what it says is, rather than have to learn each piece of equipment by itself, why can't we learn across whole collections of equipment, right? Just like with voice recognition, if I took every one of you and tried to train up voice recognition separately, it would take a long time, right? And then it wouldn't detect common patterns. Yeah?
Actually, for the use notice about the crossroads, does the private corporation doesn't share any of their ideas to the other?
Other corporations?
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. there has been more of a shift towards transparency, open source, and now even open science. I'd say things are getting more transparent and more oriented towards sharing. We participate in a couple open standards consortiums where people share and try to develop common models for across the whole industry. Of course, we do file patents. I mean, that's kind of a standard thing you have to do in the software industry. But in this realm, there's a certain amount of collaboration. So I would actually say in science, it's not even perfect there because there's a known confirmation bias that people will only publish positive results, but all the negative results they kind of keep under wraps because they aren't publishable. But it leads to sort of a bias in the sharing of information about what doesn't work, in particular in drug-related pharmaceutical type studies occasionally. So I think things are improving over time. Things like the internet, crowdsource, peer-to-peer, it's making things more transparent, which is a good thing. And of course, things like WikiLeaks as well. Good question. So, let's see, Ed. Let's switch back to So I'm not going to go too deep into the technology, but I'll give you a flavor for some of the initiatives we're applying. Has anyone heard of the Human Genome Project? Yeah? Can you describe what that is?
Like when people use technology to find the DNA, like if a person is having trouble breathing or something, find some sort of like little virus that can probably like they can figure out what's happening to them or something like that.
Yeah, very good. So the original scope of it was to map the entire sequence of the human genome, all the base pairs, so A, C, G, and T, the whole human genome, at least the common sequence. So that was started in 1953, completed in 2003, so it took about 50 years. But as you mentioned, there's a huge amount of new developments coming out of that. In fact, a lot of people say that by the time you guys hit your 30s and your middle age, you're going to have totally different health care than I had, because in your case, they probably are going to take your genome, which will have sequenced by then, and do personalized health care based on your own profile, right? Whereas right now you go to a doctor and he kind of looks at you like a puzzle, like, all I can do is look at you, take your pulse, take recordings, take blood samples, but if they could take your genome, they know a lot more about you, right? So just same principle with equipment, we're mapping out the genome of the world's machinery, again, so we know what is the structure, what is the sort of genetic makeup of the world's machinery, and we can tie that into our machine learning so that it learns, like you brought up the virus example, we can learn what are virus patterns or malfunctions that impact particular types of equipment. And there's a whole variety of things we can do. Has anyone heard of the application called Shazam? Does anyone use Shazam? Yeah, you got one user there. Another here? A couple there. So can you describe what Shazam does?
It's like the music thing. It's like when you're in the car and you don't know what music it is, or you don't know what kind of song it is, you put it up to the speaker, and it tells you the song, who sings it, and all that.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That's what I do. Because like, if I didn't know a song that I have on my Xbox, I'll show it, and that's how I got him using it too.
Mm-hmm. And you can take like a 20, 30-second clip, right?
Yeah.
And it just automatically detects. It's a pretty awesome app.
It's pretty cool.
Really cool app. Similar to what we all did earlier in the example. So now we can do like Shazam, but looking at streams of sensor data for machinery and pick up patterns, not songs, but in this case, patterns of behavior that we can identify and pinpoint. So that's how we apply that. So I'll walk through a little bit of our history of MTEL. The upper left here, kind of hard to see, was the first trade show we ever did. And what is hard to tell, but we had to pull a literal all-nighter to get ready for that. So has anyone here pulled an all-nighter? Wow.
This is the age of video games.
Okay.
So I mean,
I'm impressed. I guess I had pulled an all-nighter by middle school, but anyway, I'm impressed everyone has. That's pretty cool. So you guys are all well aware what that's like. In this case, I did an all-nighter, and then we had to man this trade show booth, and then I had to give a presentation at like 4 p.m. And by 4 p.m., I was fading fast. Like I was like so tired. And I had Coke, Coca-Cola, I had coffee, trying to stay awake, and I did. I barely got through it. And so that's when you learn, maybe like a half-hour nap in be a good thing to do that. But that was a definite test. This is another trade show we did. This one was a trade show we did in Europe. We ended up working all over the world because a lot of the industrial companies have global footprint, global reach on that. On the upper left, this was our office downtown. Was our first location. This was our office dog. His name was Sullivan. Often he'd come in and just take a nap, but occasionally he would be productive and independent. So someone else was taking a nap there, one of my coworkers. We moved to Mission Valley, which is where we're now located. Here's my co-founder Paul by the server room. Not really professional attire, but pretty casual dress code there. And again, Sullivan working hard here, keeping things running. Paul and I were both avid scuba divers, and so we used to joke that like a requirement for working for us was that you had to either be a scuba diver or be interested in someday doing it. So when we'd interview people, we'd ask that, but it wasn't really a requirement. Just kind of joke about that. But definitely love getting out in the water. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we did a lot of deployments all over the world. One of the cool things in science and engineering is a lot of these applications are global. So if you like to travel, there's all kinds of domains that you can go. Do you have a question?
Yeah, when people come into like interview or something for a job, like you know how you have to ask them like their arms and all that things they know. Do they accept like tattoos and piercings and all that?
Oh yeah, I mean especially
if I was to come in to get a job, would they allow these?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean especially to be honest, science and engineering, it's a lot more open. I guess if you go into finance and some more traditional like conservative areas.
Well, because my dad used to be a CHP officer.
Okay.
Before he died, which is what I want to become. Because they'll allow piercings, but not that big. So I was just wondering, because if I want to get another job, I want to make sure ahead of time, so I know it's like low clothes.
Yeah. Oh no, we don't care. We look at your skills, and we have people that have all kinds of different dress codes and styles, and that's totally kosher. That's why I think science and engineering school, because like you go to Wall Street, it's all conservative, buttoned up, wearing a suit. I like to be more collaborative and open. So.
Because the job I work at, I work in a church, because I'm an usher, and they don't know. Will they allow these? But you have to like dress nice and all that. And it's different for me because I'm used to going to my second job, which is over at the CHP office, because I'm a junior cadet. So I'm used to wearing the uniform, and that's it. But now I'm dressing up different. I'm like, well, I don't. So.
Find your style.
Yeah.
Find where you're comfortable, and that's okay.
Yeah, but definitely. I mean, for us, we embrace all kinds of dress code. People come in wearing flip flops, board shorts, like flip flops, whatever your preference is. But yeah, so we're kosher with all that. So yeah, we did a lot of travel. I ended up going a lot of different places: South Africa, Dubai. Dubai is a little more conservative on that realm. There's a lot of different laws when you go there. You have to sign. I actually had a planned trip to Saudi Arabia, to Riyadh, and I had to sign this thing saying I will adhere to, it's called, I can't remember the exact name, but Islamic law. And you have to read this whole thing about what Islamic law is. And definite different set of laws. A lot of things are punishable by the death penalty. A lot of things are like life in prison or your hand gets cut off. Definite different experience. I don't necessarily recommend it, but Dubai was interesting. Dubai is kind of like they're trying to become the Vegas of the Middle East. So all this construction of like mega, vacation facilities, high rises, dolphin pools. I did actually, at the Dubai Mall, they have one of the world's biggest aquariums. I think it's like 40,000 liters. And no, it's more than that.
Where's the ski resort inside, right?
They have an indoor ski resort that's somewhere in Dubai. I didn't go to that one, but yeah, it's just this huge building, and you can go skiing. So go figure, in the middle of the desert. Right? But I did go. So in the Dubai aquarium, if you're ever there, it's full of sharks, and these are sand tiger sharks. So if you're interested in sharks, the most dangerous to humans are bull sharks, tiger sharks, great white sharks. Right? You don't want to see those in the water. Especially bull sharks and tiger sharks, because great whites just want to eat, they're hungry, but bull and tiger sharks are mean, they're just vicious, they don't want you in their territory. They have like the highest per capita testosterone, so they don't care that you don't taste good, but they're going to basically try to tear you apart. Yeah, good.
What about herring?
Hammerheads have had some attacks. They're normally pretty docile. They rarely attack humans, but there have been, some. And the fourth most dangerous, yeah?
What is the less, what is like the less?
The safest shark?
Yeah.
I would say leopard sharks. I've gone snorkeling with them here off La Jolla Cove. Every May they migrate through. Their teeth are the size of like sand particles. So if they were to bite you, you might get like a bruise or some slime or something, but it wouldn't really hurt at all. But they don't really attack people, they're really shy. Yeah?
What about like lemon shark?
The lemon shark's also very safe. Yeah, probably as safe if not safer than leopard sharks. So yeah. Yeah.
What about the whale shark?
Whale shark?
Yeah.
I would say they are probably one of the safest. I have seen a clip where a guy like covered himself with shrimp, and then one of them tried to sort of eat him, but it's sort of a contrived thing. If you don't cover yourself with like seafood, they probably won't attack you. So it's not a practical thing. But it was a certain reality show on MTV, probably fill in the blank, started with a J, Jack something.
I thought you meant.
Oh,
They say that one.
I was
Okay.
gonna say ridiculous.
I'm not trying to give it a plug
Okay.
here, but anyway,
That
yeah.
was like for Genius World Records.
Was it really?
I know, I thought like I heard that, I thought it was.
I would think it probably would, just because no one else can try. What's that?
Genius World Records.
Oh, it's getting pretty big now, yeah. A lot of different firsts, I'm sure. Yeah, you can imagine that would be. But yeah, so in Dubai, they have it's full of sand tiger sharks. That's number 4 on the threat list, I guess. So it goes, you got your bulls, your tiger sharks. Sand tiger sharks are also known as nurse sharks. So the aquarium was full of those, and the cool thing is you can go scuba diving there. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. They look really scary. Yeah, they have like these teeth that kind of jet out when they swim, and they're pretty intimidating looking sharks. So yeah.
My mom saw one when she was younger, and it bit her.
Ouch. Where'd it bite her?
On the leg.
On the leg?
She said no, she got like just a little bruise.
Okay. She was lucky.
She said that it also felt kind of slim.
Yeah.
But,
Was it a big sand tiger shark?
no, not so.
Okay. Maybe a baby. So that's good. Yeah. Question?
Anthony.
Oh, you sir. Yeah.
I was at the beach, I saw a dolphin, and I like started screaming because I was a shark. It's like ginormous too, the fin was sticking out.
They have the dorsal fin. Yeah. For a second, it kind of looks shark-like. So gotta be careful of that. Yeah. Question?
Me and my friend were at the beach once up in La Jolla, and then we saw something moving in the sand. So we stepped closer, and it ran over my foot. It was a sand shark.
Oh, yikes.
It scared me.
Those ones on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are kind of big looking. There's another species I think called a guitar fish that looks like a sand shark, but they kind of swivel around just on the bottom, like an inch off the bottom, and those are kind of weird looking too. You see those a lot of time when you go to see the leopard sharks, like off La Jolla shores, and you can kind of sometimes if you snorkel, they'll follow you around, track beneath you, which is kind of cool. But yeah, if you ever want to go scuba diving with sand tiger sharks, you can do it in Dubai. They have like a bunch of them in this big aquarium. And when you go in, the rules are you have to keep your hands at your side, or you cross your arms. Because when you stick out your hand, it looks like a little fish. And they'll go, oh, that looks like a snack, and they'll kind of bite it. So you actually cross your arms, and you kind of dive around, and you try to go on the bottom of the aquarium, because they mostly don't like to attack things near the ground. And so it's safer on the bottom. Yeah, question?
This is a little off topic, but did you see Tom Cruise in Dubai?
I did not see Tom Cruise there, but we filmed Ghost Protocol, right? Yeah. That would have been cool, but no, unfortunately no. I did go visit the Burj Khalifa, which is where they filmed that, which is actually the tallest building in the world currently. It's like 2,700 feet tall. I couldn't go up it because when you scuba dive, you can't fly within 12 hours of diving. You also can't go up an elevator, like almost a mile in the sky, because the way it goes up so fast that your ears decompress, and after scuba diving it would like blow up because you have too much nitrogen. So it might be good. Yeah, question?
You guys mentioned like some sort of advice on sharks, that's where they go.
What about the shark attack? Oh, on the shark? No, not in this case. No devices. What's funny is there was one other guy, the guy that ran the aquarium, got in with me, and he had like a little protection stick, right? And I didn't have anything, and I was going, where's my protection, right? And he's got his thing. And so he had told me ahead of time, I actually read up on it, that the way sand tiger sharks stalk their prey is they gulp in air into their stomach, and then they get neutrally buoyant, so they just sit motionless. They don't swim around you, but when you have to worry is when they're motionless, like near you. That means they're getting ready to like attack. And so long story short, we went up to this upper ledge, and we're kind of kneeling down, looking around, and all of a sudden I looked over in the corner, and behind this little piece of kelp they had was a motionless sand tiger shark, closest to me, and sitting there just motionless staring at me. Scary looking shark. So I like elbowed the guy. I was like, "You need to get over here." And so like he switched sides with me because he had his little protection stick, and that was kind of freaky, but you know, nothing happened. There have been attacks in that aquarium, but they were only to divers that were going in to like feed the sharks or to clean the tank. No tourists have been attacked, so that's all I'm going to say.
We have about 10 minutes left in this class period.
Well, let's do open up for questions.
Well, yeah, I'm having a fun time.
Okay. Well, we'll
whatever
take a
you
pause
want to
here.
do.
Yeah, we'll take a pause just to answer any open questions about anything you guys want. Yeah, go ahead.
At the aquarium, do they have like any small fish?
Lots of small fish, yeah. It was it was actually really neat. It was full of everything from a lot of anemones, a lot of eels. So eels were swimming around, mantas, rays, bat rays. So it's pretty cool.
And also, when I was there, like when I went to the zoo in Indiana, you could touch a bull shark, little itty bitty bull sharks.
Okay, little baby ones.
And one looked at me, and then he looked at me like, really, what is with you? And then he just slowly swam away.
Swam away.
Got very happy.
They're cute when they're about that small, but then not so cute when they're little size. So, yeah.
What, like, if there's or sand tiger sharks, what if they're like motionless but they're dead?
You know, the way they gulp in air into their stomach, I don't know if that would stay there after they die. Maybe if they manage to keep their mouths shut, maybe they, you know. But eventually, air would probably bubble out and they'd sink, as well as other fish would probably eat them eventually. Part of the whole ecosystem. Yeah. Question.
You know, I was talking about one time I went to Hawaii, and then I went to go scuba diving, and saw a dolphin. It got me listening.
That's the coolest thing ever. I mean, so we have a scuba diver here. Very cool. I mean, if you ever get a chance, for me, one of the coolest things is actually you go to the zoo and animals are all behind a cage, right? And they don't look real happy. It's kind of sad. Even in SeaWorld, you go in the ocean and you're like in their element. They're out swimming around, and a lot of times they're not afraid of you. They'll come up to you. They'll follow you around, and that's like the neatest experience. Like dolphins, sea turtles, really amazing. So definitely, we would highly recommend it if you have the chance. I took scuba diving back in college. They had a class, so I took that. And you do like 6 sessions in a swimming pool, and you get used to the equipment, and then you learn a bunch of stuff about decompression, this, that, and the other. So yeah, good question. A what? Oh, shark have a weak point? You know, you hear their gills, you hear their eyes. Some of them are so quick when they attack you. Good luck trying to like punch them in the gill or the eye. I've heard stories about that. It's hard to say though, because when people survive, you know, what do they really remember about it? But they claim the eyes and the gills are weak points.
Actually, the stomach is.
The stomach.
If you have a change hole.
You have a chance to get underneath there, yeah. Depending on how they approach you, like sometimes great whites will come up to need, and they'll actually hit 20 miles per hour, and good luck doing anything at that point. You're pretty much done for. But again, scuba diving, you're below the surface, so it's safer because they may like to attack things at the surface or higher up. So yeah.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
First question is, over in the aquarium, like what kind of fish do they feed? Like betta fish?
Oh, what do they feed to the bigger fish?
Yeah.
You mean?
Like,
You know, I don't know exactly. they overfeed them. They like hand feed them all kinds of dead fish so that they don't prey on the other fish. And the other idea is that they don't want them hungry when tourists are coming in. They're like, oh, this is like a good snack. So the idea is keep them overfed, just like they do at the Shark Tank. They have one here at SeaWorld. They have one at the Florida SeaWorld. And there was a case actually a couple of years back where there's a bridge over the Shark Tank at the SeaWorld in Florida, and it collapsed. And about 12 people fell in the Shark Tank, and they were on the surface kicking their legs, which is not where you want to be surrounded by sharks. You're on the surface, you're thrashing around. That like activates every instinct they have to feed. These things were so overfed though that they're just like, can't do it. Yeah, it's like after a big meal, are you really going to go hunt a buffalo? Probably not, right? So no one got hurt.
And my question is like,
No one died.
Matt?
Oh yeah.
how fast is like one of the like a sand shark?
A sand shark?
Yeah.
Sand tiger sharks, they're not very fast. I think they can strike. I mean, they'll kind of hover and then they'll go in for a relatively fast strike, but they can't do sustained. Like great whites can swim pretty fast. I think they're more like short bursts of activity. Did you have a third question?
Yeah. How old were you when you first started scuba diving?
My cousin was a Navy diver, so he similar to what was your name? Alexis. Similar to Alexis, he took me down when I was like 12, up at a lake actually. There's a dock, we just went down like 8 feet, and I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. And then I never did it again. That was when I was about 12, then in college is when I got certified.
Yeah, cause I started like surfing and scuba diving and all that when I was 13.
Okay.
And then last year, when I was 14, I kind of got used to surfing. So when I surfed, I got my brother to surf, who's 8, which he got scared, which kind of scared me. Because my brother gets scared, like, I got to protect him. He's my younger brother, like,
Yeah.
if he gets scared, I'm going to be scared, because I don't know what he's thinking, and I don't know what he's going to do. So, like, it's something we have to appreciate it.
Yeah, you got to protect your brother. Yeah, very cool. Well, I'll head over to this side here, yeah.
Alright, so I have been bit by an animal, but it was a shark. In Montana, there's this big reptile garden, and you can pet galapagos sharks, these huge ones.
Okay.
And I was like 6, and I was just like by it, and it bit my foot.
Did it?
Yeah, it hurt.
Oh.
Big galapagos sharks. No, I meant it's all that, right?
Did it break any bones or just left a
No,
big
it
bruise?
was just a bruise like that big.
Wow. Yeah, those are big animals. Yeah, good question.
Might be a little bit off topic, but what is that? Yeah, what is that?
Oh, the robotic guy?
Yeah, is that one of your brothers? My brother's
Oh, yeah. What's that? Iron Man. It looks kind of like Iron Man. It actually, here's a funny story about that. One of our early, we've gone through some things with branding. We had that sort of like cyborg robotish guy, but we had a couple of customers tell us that was kind of creepy. So we actually ended up pulling that out of all of our materials, so we don't use that anymore. It's kind of an older PowerPoint. But it was one of our early, I guess, like branding things to tell how sort of artificial robots could help growth. Is that right? Like Iron Man, yeah. Green Lantern, there you go. Yeah, next.
Does your brother design games?
He used to design games. Now he works on more of the engine that runs the games, like the physics engines and stuff like that. He worked for the PlayStation 3 on the actual console, and then he became sort of the liaison with gaming companies. So he'd come down to work with like Rockstar on Grand Theft Auto. Which hopefully, I was gonna say, hopefully none of you have played. Like quite a few fans. I'm not sure if that's targeting, your age group, but.
Did he do Black Ops 2?
I don't know if he did actually. But, no, he was just with Sony, and then he went on to Google now. Yeah. So, yeah, question?
One time I did get hit by a dog though. He bit the same.
Okay.
The second thing, how much does a school
Certification cost? You know, it ranges. If you do it in school, you can get some group discounts, like on the rental gear and stuff. I mean, it ranges from anywhere, I'd say probably $200 to $300, list price. But again, if you do it through school, I think you can get some discounts on that. Do we have anything to wrap up?
Yeah, and you can go to the sports arena or sports chalet in sports arena, and they have a pool where you can practice. You can get a taste for it if you're interested, for free. So, ladies and gentlemen, log out of your computers. If you have any other questions for Alex, I do have his email and everything. So, but if you want to stop by, say hi, say goodbye, say thank you, shake his hand, that would be very nice and lovely.
Probably 80. Hey, great to meet you. What's that? Wow, that's pretty wild. Hey, great to meet you, Alexis. Thanks so much. Great to meet you. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Are you staying for another one, or are you done?
Well, I have a call at 10:30.
Yeah, then you should probably get going.
Okay.
But that was so.
Oh, thank you so much. I'd love to come back.
Come back.
I mean, in the sense of like with sports and all that kind of stuff and getting to know you, I thought something here. I was like, but that's the important stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing all of it.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it's great talking to you guys and all that. So appreciate it.
We'll find out.
Cool. We'll look forward to it. Hey, nice to meet you, man. Take care.
Hey, Logan.
Why don't you stand outside your like reading a fire?
Are you serious?
Hey, this is our room.
That is cool. So I love having projects. You're not going to open an iRobot?
Yeah.
That is cool.
So anyway, that's our game table back there, and then underneath that table is our
Okay.
That one?
Is that part of the first program?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
exactly.
very cool. Yeah.
So our has this light sensor, so it would actually start. You have to set the light, say light on, light off, and then it will go. But
Oh, wow.
it's just a simple program that they have programmed into it to either go straight
Or to start.
or to just go straight. Yeah. Yeah, how long does yours take?
Oh, it should be ready. I can swing that over.
Friends, right? You're not friends?
Now it uses an ultrasonic sensor for distance.
Ooh, we're really trying to work on depth sensors.
And if it sees an obstacle, it'll speak the Vayner quote and then it'll move away. So on carpet, it enters the So anytime it sees an obstacle, it says 1 minute.
How long does it take you to build it?
It was kind of just a fun side project. Probably it was ongoing, like internet thing. We did it over probably a couple months. So I had to get a whole converter from here to Arduino to Raspberry Pi 1.5 volts. But obviously the next distance will be. I actually have a Vayner toy.
That's future.
Oh, that's in the Raspberry Pi. So that plays all the vocals.
So how did you just go on and read it?
Yeah, they're making robots right now, right? They're going to make more. It's going to take over the world like that.
Raspberry Pi is a lot more better than microcontrollers.
I'll just do one program on this.
Oh yeah, that's the coffee can.
All these years.
That's a vacuum. How do you program?
You write the Arduino is programmed in C, and then this is all in Python. Those are two different programs.
It's short. Don't blink. He's done.
Very cool.
So, basic programming for now, and then we have our competition on Saturday.
Okay.
At least they have. Huh?
Yeah, it's a lot of wiring.
What about it?
That's his vision. That's the microphone. That's a passive infrared motion detector. That's an ultrasonic distance sensor. So you can see, even though how far you are, you can detect motion. And this actually, you can sync up to my computer so I have a webcam. I did drives, I can watch what it sees. You put it down the street. You put it down the street. You can spy on someone. It could be creepy. It could be considered creepy.
Just like, I don't know what it is. Come through your house.
And if you put a microphone on, this is just video, but if you have a mic, then of course you can hear it too. You can hear voices. All right, I better run to my call. Thanks so much for having me. Any other time if you want anything else, let me know.
Okay, you're prepared, right?
A lot of fun.
I appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So today, thank you for being here. Bye. Sorry, it's loading up, and then I was thinking, I was listening. So who's tapping?
Someone over there.
Get down on the ground.
Yeah.
Who is it? Tristan.
This is a Marine.
Let's see. Well, I haven't done mine either. And Tristan can. And if you have gum in your mouth, don't choke on it. But you probably want to spit it out before you start, because the little jiggle anyway.
That's 20.
Put your hands closer.
That's 20. That's 20.
Put your hands closer. You'll get stronger.
Wailing.
It's boiling.
Wailing.
I know. Boy, America.
Ready?
America. Yeah, remember who you're. I was going to say representing.
Do it.
All right. So Alex was here. If you guys missed out completely, I'll make you go stand outside and do the cards again. What was I going to say? Oh, so Alex, now that I have his PowerPoint too, I'm pretty excited. No, he put it on my computer. But Alex works for MTEL, which is a artificial intelligence company that checks out. I know, for real. He checks out the anomalies that happen within mechanical devices. So say, for instance, his example was in 2009, 2011, there was the BP oil spill, right?
Yeah.
Well, that could have been averted if there was technologies that could sense those types of dangers beforehand. So, what he has explained, and I'm going to do my best to try to explain it, is kind of an EKG system. So a heart rate monitor, you know, those kind of, that checks your pulses, your heartbeat. Well, his machine, his intelligent machine, does that type of thing. So he can check the anomalies, those rifts, those outliers. And I wonder if it works. It doesn't work because he doesn't have, wait, let's see. Okay. He did. He does do skydiving and all that. So his, who he is as a worker and who he is in his personal life. A scuba diver.
I just guessed that, too.
Well, scuba diver. Anyway, so he had done recognition. So similar to the way that your brain works in recognizing something, he created a machine that does that sort of intelligence. So what I want you to do, and this is the example that he did, raise your hand when you recognize this song. Not when your friend recognizes it and when he puts up his hand, but when you recognize it, okay? If you recognize it, raise your hand. Okay. So just like your brains recognize that song, his machines would recognize anomalies, those differences.
Yeah, we hear the whole thing.
Yeah, you guys, you can hear it on your own time. Anywho, so just like machine learning technologies, voice recognition, the Google car, and credit card fraud. So noticing people's charges, or noticing charges within bank statements, and knowing outliers, anomalies, like that doesn't look right. So. Anyway, his trade shows, his office space, it's a pretty casual environment when working with technology. On his free time, he likes to scuba dive, and when interviewing to join the company, those are the types of questions that they ask their employees, like, do you enjoy scuba diving? Because that's something that we enjoy, and we were trying to build our company up. And, yeah. I'm going to turn this off, too, because it's